Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Vayne updated complete guide, of course, for the latest patch. And this is going to be a pretty wild one. But before we get into any of it, of course, as usual, don't forget to check out Vayne's basic guide that I put up in the cards above for her skills, leveling order tips and tricks, as well as a couple combos. Now this one is really going to be very exciting. It's going to be a game where you're going to see a pentakill, you're going to see us lose all 3 inhibs and come back even after that. You're going to see a very long, hard-fought game. So it's going to be a pretty long video already. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get straight into it. So let's talk about what I think is going to be Vayne's best build. So, I think it's pretty straightforward. It's going to be crit, right? On hit is pretty much not the best build unless the whole enemy team are tanks, which is possible but not likely. So you will see that basically all the top players are going for crit. But they're all going for somewhat different variations of crit, and I'm going to kind of discuss with you guys which one I think is best and such, right? So, first off, you're going to start off with attack speed boots, because with the crit build, you really don't have that much attack speed. You have like 15% from here, 25% from here, but it's nothing compared to on hit where you would get that much just from one item, like just from a Bork or just from a Wit's End, like even more, right? So you want to start with the attack speed boost just for the early game attack speed, and just for attack speed in general, right? Then you're going to go into the standard first item, which is going to be Bloodthirster. Now, Bloodthirster, of course, gives you AD, a little bit of attack speed, as well as giving you that lifeline passive, which of course does give you the shield and resistances, but also you get physical vamp, which on Vayne doesn't proc on her true damage, of course, because it's physical vamp and not omni vamp. And then you're going to go into Blaster as your next item. Now, Blaster is actually a very, very core item on Vayne for a number of reasons. Firstly, that increased range helps you with a little bit of poke, applying a stack of silver bullets onto someone. You also get that burst damage, which is really good, but very, very critically, it's very helpful on Vayne because of the wave clear. Now, on a lot of other champions, this is not really a problem, but on Vayne, she has trash wave clear since she's single target, so getting that static shift passive on that Blaster is really, really important for your wave clear purposes. Now, since you tumble so much, going for Essence Fever here is actually a really important item as well, because you are able to proc your Essence Fever very, very often just because of how much you tumble, and that is going to be very, very helpful here. And then the last item or second last item slot, I think is very flexible. You can go for IE just for that increased crit damage, but you can also go for a couple of other options, which I'm going to cover in a bit. Last item, I normally like to go for Twin Guard almost every game because Vayne is always going to be taking a lot of damage since she's very short range, and she's like a ADC who needs to really go in to deal her damage. So I go for Twin Guard basically last item all the time. So that's pretty standard for me. So IE can be substituted with a couple items. Now, firstly, you can actually go for Phantom Dancer. Now, Phantom Dancer doesn't give you damage like what IE does, but it gives you 40% attack speed, plus an additional 25% attack speed when you proc it, and then, of course, extra movement speed as well for extra 65% attack speed. Now, considering you don't have a lot of attack speed in the build, I think this 65% attack speed is like just as much as like almost as much as your first 3 items combined, including the boots, right? So that could come in very, very handy, especially if you're playing into a team that is very, very tanky and you need to like proc your silver bolts a lot. That could be very helpful. But the thing is, if the team is that tanky, I normally would go on hit instead of building crit anyway. Or you could instead go for this, right? Instead of going for 100% crit, you could actually go for a Blade of the Rune King over here, just to get that additional attack speed, and more importantly, the current health on hit damage is going to come in very handy in these scenarios. So you also can, of course, go for something defensive like a Wit's End, and of course you can substitute Twin Guard for something like Guardian Angel or even Wit's End if that's what you prefer. But I think the standard build looks something like this. Now for the runes, standard ADC runes, nothing special here. For the spells, Flash and Ghost. Now I will say on Vayne, I take Ghost like 99% of games. And there's almost no game that I don't take Ghost. I tried playing some games with Cleanse on Vayne when the enemy team has a lot of CC. But I really think that with Vayne, if you don't take Ghost, you're losing out on so much, right? Vayne really needs that movement speed to run people down, to run around fights, kite left and right, and even run away sometimes. But you really, really need the Ghost for the fights. So I go for Ghost on Vayne pretty much all the time. But with all that covered, now let's move on to taking a look at the gameplay. Okay, so now let's take a look at the gameplay, but of course before we get into any of the details, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, remarks, feel free to leave in the comments below. Of course, you guys know I will be sure to address them. So a lot of things I actually want to cover in this particular gameplay. But of course, first thing I kind of wanted to talk about is what I just talked about, which is Ghost versus cleanse. Now you will see in this game, this is an insane value cleanse game, right? You can cleanse Leona's entire kit, like her ult, her Q, her E, and you can cleanse Seraphine ult and Seraphine CC as well. So there's so much things to cleanse. You can even cleanse Lucian exhaust. There's so many things you can cleanse this game, except you can't cleanse Set ult. But other than that, there's so many things you can actually cleanse this game. It's such an insanely good cleanse game, but even so, I just really think that Vayne needs Ghost, right? Like without Ghost, it is just so hard to play Vayne in my opinion. I think Ghost is like essential for Vayne. You really have to go for Ghost, right? In my opinion. So next up is how strong is Vayne? Like Vayne is really not that strong as we all know. Like she has her areas, right? As we get into a fight here, Leona takes a ton of damage here. I'm proccing my silver bolts on her. Now I'm trading with Lucian, dodging his Q, trading back a little bit. And of course, while we didn't win the trade because Lux takes so much damage from Lucian, because Lucian's a very strong early game champion, I think we actually traded back really, really well. Both Lucian and Leona take a bunch of damage because they weren't focusing me. And yeah, they're definitely not gonna step up so easily anymore. Now the thing about this though is that I do outrange Lucian because Lucian of course has the lowest range of all ADCs aside from of course Nyla. A little bit of a lag there, I think. But anyways, yeah, Lucian does have the lowest range. So Vayne actually outranges Lucian. Of course, Lucian does have that dash though, so if you want to kind of poke him and such, he probably is going to dash on you. I was expecting a Leona E there, which is why I was kind of dashing away, but the E didn't actually come, funnily enough. So sometimes you mispredict a little bit. I mean, as long as you don't flash or something like that. So here, Leona engages, so I actually condemn her into the tower. Then I realized that focusing Lucian is the better idea. He exhausts me, but I do true damage, so it doesn't actually matter. Now, it looks like a free double kill for me, but Lux comes in for the KS and gives me a thumbs up. How annoying is that, right? How annoying is that? Like yeah. Anyways, Olaf comes in. I'm just gonna condemn him against the wall and walk away. Not too big of a deal. And we're just gonna get off a reset. So very, very good start for me. Should have been 2 kills, but it became just 1 kill because my support took the other kill. Yeah, I'm not sure why she did that, and yeah, I don't know. Anyways, so of course you only really ever want to play Vayne into like a tanky-ish team, which is basically this, right? Of course you have a tanky Leona, you have a tanky Set, you have a relatively tanky Olaf. I think 3 tanks is the bare minimum you want to play Vayne into. And then of course you have you know, something like a Seraphine and Lucian, who are not tanks, they're just like squishies, which is a pretty normal like comp. Like this is pretty much the tankiest it is gonna get already. Like there's not much tanky you can get than this team. Like Leona is very, very tanky, so is Set. The only way you could get like tankier is like if you have like, for example, a Ram as jungle and you have like a Swain mid, and that's when you probably want to go for on-hit Vayne. I mean, even in this game we could have gone for on-hit Vayne if we really wanted to, but we decided to go for the crit Vayne here because the problem with on-hit Vayne is it doesn't deal with the squishies so easily, whereas with crit Vayne you can deal with squishies a lot easier, and also you deal with tanks just fine, right? Because you still do the true damage. Like regardless of what you build, you're always going to do true damage on your passive. It's just that you have less attack speed with the crit to proc your passive compared to going for that on-hit build where you get a lot more attack speed, so you can proc your passive more often, right? But I mean, even so, it still kind of works out, right? In this game, you will kind of see that we can deal with both tanks and squishies, and also furthermore, honestly, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the lag in the gameplay or it's just my computer lagging as I am voicing over the gameplay. But if you guys are seeing the lag, I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. And if you guys don't, then that's great. It just means that my computer is lagging as I am like voicing over the gameplay recording. So we'll see a very interesting long game. And the reason it's long is because my team actually falls pretty far behind, which is not uncommon in Vayne games. Like even though I'm like ahead right now, and even though in some Vayne games I'm ahead, it's very common that, you know, your team falls behind and such. As Seraphine goes for a very, very strange flank, does get the ult on me, but I do get the condemn on her in the meanwhile, and we are able to get the kill on her. Then we're going to go on to Leona next, flashing forward, we get the kill onto Leona. Now I'm chasing the Lucian, who's way further away. He exhausts me, but again, I do true damage, so it doesn't matter. Now here I'm 1 HP, but I'm thinking I can kite the Olaf away. I dodge his axe, so I'm thinking he's in trouble. And then he just turns around and smacks me in the gob. Then chases after Morgana and kills her as well. Now honestly, I played that situation well up to the point that I didn't. Like, I think collapsing on Seraphine and killing her first was definitely the move, and then flashing onto Leona to finish her off was also the move, and then going for the Lucian in the backline when he was unprotected was also the move, and then fighting the Olaf when I could have run away I think was also correct, and I kited him out well. I dodged his axe, but I think I spaced just a little bit. I just misspaced that one time where I walked up a little bit, putting myself in range to get eat by him, and then when he popped the E and auto, I just got one shot. So if I had spaced a little bit better, I think I would have killed him and actually got a quadra kill there. But honestly, getting a triple in the early game as Vayne is really huge already. I've completed my Bloodthirster first item as well as my boots. Lucian, of course, does have Essence Reaver as well, and boots. But of course, I'm on a pretty nice Bloodthirster spike here, and I'm of course in pretty good shape. So I'm not going to complain too much. Like you can see, my team is barely behind the enemy team at this point. I myself am pretty far ahead of Lucian, and I think I have the most gold in the game right now. I do, which is definitely an amazing spot for Vayne to be in. Of course, Vayne is a late game hyper carry, so if you get a hit early, you know, you're in a very good spot. So here the dragon is up, but my jungler is not here. He is coming off of a base. Right? Or I think he might have just revived actually. But anyways, the enemy team takes the Enchanted Ensemble, and Lux I think is clearing vision in the pit. Right, so here I want to take this minion wave and then rotate to dragon. Lucian is pressuring me off the wave instead of rotating to dragon, so we're gonna have to let the dragon crash. This means that they have prio to collapse on our team, but Lucian actually decides to go for the wave instead of the fight. Right, so we actually get position on the dragon pit before him, and we're actually able to secure the dragon as Seraphine and Olaf arrive on the scene. Now here I'm thinking that, you know, we can probably kill Olaf and then we can go from there, but unfortunately Olaf actually survives on 1 HP somehow and doesn't actually die, leaving myself and Kha'Zix in a bit of an awkward situation. We end up losing the top tower as well because Olaf had the Herald, and because I didn't kill him, he now is able to get that. And now Kha'Zix in a spot of bother here. I'm just trying to focus both of them to try to dissuade them from going onto my teammates. But as a result, I tank a PTA from Lucian and I lose my Bloodthirster shield, which definitely does hurt. But we're still in, of course, a very decent spot, right? We're still not doing too badly. But however, my team is like 5k gold behind at this point. Like we have a lead for the enemy team in the top lane, in the jungle, as well as in the mid lane. And I'm barely having a lead against Lucian at this point, despite having 4 kills. And Lux, of course, has a huge lead against Leona because she took some kills and she's taking minions as well. So, yeah, in general, where my team is not in very good shape, just taking a look at it as a whole. But it's not a very huge, you know, loss, right? So here, Lucian ends up going pretty low. Unfortunately, here I get just chain CC'd by Leona. Even though the fight started off very good, it ends up going very bad because we get hit by the Leona ulti into the Lucian ulti, and Lucian gets the full culling onto me, and there's really not much I can do about this situation. So I guess the only thing I could have done is to get a QSS, right? So here, even at the very beginning of the match, I already knew I needed QSS, and I actually wanted to go for QSS after Bloodthirster, but I think at that point it was like 5 minutes something into the game, and I couldn't even buy it because it was too early in the game. So I ended up just building components for my next item as here. Just look at this fight, right? Like, they're all 1 HP. I'm thinking this is a free cleanup. Somehow I don't get the kill on Olaf. Somehow Seraphine doesn't die there, and even though I eventually get her, it takes too long to kill these people. Like, I thought this is like a free triple kill at the very minimum. Like, but no, it was not. Like, in the end, I only get 1 kill and I die for it, which is highly unfortunate to say the least. Right? So I'm starting to think at this point like, this game is just going south. Right? It started off pretty well. Now Seth has like a over 2k gold lead against Teemo. Kha'Zix, Olaf has a like 2k gold lead on Kha'Zix, and there's a 1k gold lead for Seraphine over the Morgana, and even Lucian now is like 1k gold up on me when I was like 1k gold up on him just now. And then of course Lux still has a 500 gold lead against Leona. But now collectively, the lead of the enemy team is slowly growing. We're now like 6k behind, and at this point, instead of going for QSS, I'm starting to think that, you know what, like, I'm so close to getting the Magnetic Blaster at this point that Blaster is probably going to be a bigger spike than QSS, although it's arguable because if you get caught by QSS, you just become, if you get caught by CC and you don't have QSS, you're basically useless. You get 1 shot, you do 0 damage anyway, so it's arguable if it's more worth it to go for Blaster first or QSS first, considering the gold difference between the two of them is like 800 gold compared to like 1000 gold at this point. So it is arguable which is better to go for, but regardless of which is better, I decide to go for the blaster first and then into QSS afterwards. So we're gonna see if that like pays off. So here Set is super far overextended with the Hullbreaker, so I'm thinking that this is a pretty free kill here. So we pick up the kill without too much of an issue, and we're just gonna quickly reset. And also guys, I'm pretty sure you guys can't see the lag because I went to check the original footage because I was lagging out like crazy there, so I think it's just my computer kind of just dying from recording the voiceover, but the original footage was not lagging at all, so I don't think you guys will be able to see the lag, thankfully, so I think it should be fine for you guys. So here, I make the foolish decision of trying to defend this tower. I get chain CC'd here without my QSS, as I decide to complete the blaster, and I guess you could have said that if I just went for QSS there, I would have actually survived, and I probably would have been fine there. In fact, I might have been able to turn it around, although there is also a lot of CC, so I'm not sure if that is even the case. So, regardless, we end up dying again there, and you can see that this is only helping the enemy team even further. They now have like a 8k goal lead at this point. Baron and Dragon are both up. You can see Olaf and Leona are headed over to the Dragon area, and they honestly could have gone for Baron. I think Baron would have been way more valuable. I guess they deny us the Infernal Soul, but how important is that? Actually, not really. And here Lux steps up and basically gets one shot by Set and Lucian. Lucian, of course, now he is very fed as well. I'm just looking to take this wave here. Lucian, you can see him in our jungle where with that ward. And I just want that QSS goal because I'm thinking like they might go for Baron here. If we fight at Baron, I'm probably going to get CC'd, so I need that QSS. So I'm quickly picking up that QSS to kind of try to make sure that we are able to have some counterplay against the Leona and the Seraphine, of which we encountered like both of them just now. And we got just chain CC'd by all of them. So as expected, the enemy team is kind of hovering around the Baron area, and Kha'Zix is none the wiser. He sees it happening, but he is... I'm not sure, he's farming his blue buff, I guess? Anyways, here it's a little bit dangerous of a situation. Kha'Zix is taking the portal, jumping away from the Set. Now Set is now 1v5 in the backline, so we're just blasting him. He gets off a pretty nice W. We condemn him into the wall, get charmed by Seraphine. We're gonna have to pop the QSS there so we don't get murdered by Olaf. Now here is where we kite the Olaf again, and we're able to get the kill on him. Now Lucian is now on us, but with the help of Kha'Zix and the fact that Lucian actually exhausted Kha'Zix down me, we're actually able to finish the kill on him. Now only Leona's left alive, so there's nothing to be afraid of. Even if she CCs us, there's no one to follow up, so we're just going to run her down. And we end up picking up the ace. And this is one of the kind of turning points of the game, but honestly we're still like 5k gold behind, 6k gold behind. So we really need to start getting objective bounties to start getting back into the game. The problem is that enemy respawn timers are really not that long, so I'm just trying my best to pick up this tower. TP comes into mid lane from Seraphine to stop Kha'Zix from getting the mid lane tower. So we're only going to be able to get this bot lane bounty. The minions are pushing in on the top lane, but they're not going to get the tower. So we only really get that one bounty, unfortunately. Of course, me and Kha'Zix cannot two-man a Baron, so that's out of the question. So here we pick up our Sheen as well as going for a Cloak. Of course, going to build into the Essence Reaver item. And here once again, just because the enemy team all died doesn't mean they're going to stop, you know, looking for Baron, right? Because they're still ahead pretty significantly. So we're still at the Baron era trying to make sure that they're not doing the Baron for free. In the meantime, they're pushing in all of the lanes as they should be. Morgana trying to defend against the Set at the top lane on the opposite side of the map. I'm just trying to clear out the mid lane whenever the mid lane minions kind of come in. And here Seraphine overextends, gets caught up by Kha'Zix, pops the ulti with her dying breath. Leona ult hits nobody, and that's two huge ultis out of the way. And I'm thinking this is probably gonna be a winning fight if we take it, because Seraphine's dead, Leona doesn't have ulti, and we can probably win this fight. So here Olaf gets caught, uses the ulti to jump away. Leona tries to re-engage onto Kha'Zix, doesn't quite work out. I get the mid lane prior this time, getting a ward down, and I realized that, wait a minute, mid lane tower is left unattended, so I'm just going for this mid lane tower, getting our team another objective bounty. We're still 5k gold behind though, So here I really want to reset to pick up my Essence Reaver, but just look at this. Looks like a fight's about to break out, right? So I see Lux using ulti and like Kha'Zix being nearby, and I'm like, I cancel my base so that I can help out my team if needed, but I really want a base. So here, I am going to eventually take that recall and pick up the Essence Reaver and then redeploy back toward the Baron area. Now, Kha'Zix is backing inside of the pit. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he wastes his jump to get out of the pit, and now the enemy team is just all doing Baron, which is very logical because Kha'Zix, our jungler, doesn't have his jump, so he might have to suicide to steal the Baron if he really wants to. Huge Seraphine ult secures the Baron for the enemy team because we can't really do anything about it. Now here, I'm trying to focus down the Olaf because I'm basically caught in the fight at this point. I can't really get out, so the best thing I can do here is to try to at least get someone killed with me. And then, of course, just as we're trying to claw our way back into the game, the enemy team secures the Baron, picks up a couple of kills, and now we are back to having like a 8k gold deficit to the enemy team, unfortunately. So we're definitely not having a good time. The Ice Dragon is also up. I think it's a free one for the enemy. Teemo trying to contest the Ice Dragon, supposedly. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. Maybe he's trying to clear the wave. Morgana also just trying to clear the wave in mid, just 1v1 against a Leona. Set, meanwhile, just taking the bot lane inhibitor for free. Morgana can't really defend against him because of the Baron minions and the Hullbreaker. And the minions are pushing onto the base at this point. Now Set is trying to run away, but actually roots himself by casting his W. So now we're all just going to collapse on him. Kha'Zix picks up the kill onto him. We're looking at maybe going for a pick onto Seraphine. Seraphine is kiting the correct direction. And you can see the minion waves are all just pushing in with the Baron minions. We really need to clear these waves, make sure that they don't get anything more than what they should. Right? We don't want them to get an extra tower or whatnot. So here, just kind of checking the situation in the jungle. Also, of course, this is a little bit dangerous because if they're like there, they're gonna catch me out. But because this is an Infernal Rift, they don't actually have brushes in the jungle, so it's actually a lot safer just to walk out because they can be hiding in a brush when there isn't one. And now we get a reset. We take the BF Sword. Obviously, BF Sword is a pretty huge buy for the extra AD here. No objectives are up at the moment. We're still like 7-8k gold behind the enemy team. And honestly, the only real way to go about this at this point is obviously just look for good fights and find picks, slowly claw your way back into the game. Of course, with the enemy team, don't take bad fights and just keep up the pressure, and you should be able to eventually win the game. So it kind of depends on which side you're on here. Leona ulti goes in onto Morgana, who now pops the black shield, roots the Leona. Now I get charmed, I go unstoppable. I'm just trying to focus down the Leona. Leona is dead, as is the Seraphine. Kha'Zix picks up a double. Now Set, in the meantime, is just trying to split push the tower. Teemo can't really stop him. I'm trying to rush there as fast as I can to hopefully stop him from getting the inhib. I initially tried to clear the minions at first, then I realized it's not going to save the tower, so eventually I just focus the Set, kill the Set, and then go for the minions afterwards. Now we've lost both side lane inhibs, and this is like a horrible game to play, right? Like, even if your mid lane inhib is still standing, if your side lane inhibs are down, it's just so difficult to really just play the game, because there's so much pressure. There's so much pressure on both your side lanes that you have to always continually go back to base to defend. Otherwise, the minions is going to end the game, and you're just going to lose the game by default because of the minions, right? So you can see here that both Baron and Elder are spawning, right? But I'm on the Baron side of the map, even though I should be on the Elder side of the map. And that's just simply because I need to clear these minions. If I don't clear these minions before I contest the Elder, it's not going to work out, because we are all just going to even if we kill them at Elder, there's a chance that they keep us there long enough for the minions to end the game. So we can't allow that to happen. So here, I'm late to the fight, unfortunately. Thankfully, though, the fight hasn't really fully broken out yet. It's kind of just the dragon dance of people kind of just walking around so far. So here, I don't want to start focusing the dragon. I want to look for like picks or whatnot. So here, Seraphine gets caught, and I'm just looking to finish her off. There, down she goes. And here is my moment. We get a double, we get a triple, and then we're on the triple. We're cutting away from Olaf. We have to flash away. We get the Quadra onto the Olaf, and it's just Leona left for a free penta kill as long as no one KSs me, which Lux tried very much to do there. And we get the penta kill. And this also means that we're going to be able to get the Elder Dragon. However, pay attention to the side lanes as this is happening. Look at that top wave. It's like a double triple stack wave pushing in. The bot wave is also a double triple stack wave pushing in. So the moment we complete this, we can't even go to Baron or anything. We have to reset and clear these waves. Like the mid lane also needs to be cleared because it's also pushing in. So we really need like all three of us to each person clear one wave, right? So Teemo's going for top, I'm gonna go for bot, Lux clears the mid lane. Just look at this wave. But look at how much gold it's gonna give though. Like I need just a little bit more gold for Twin Guard, so I'm gonna be able to clear this wave and probably pick up the Twin Guard right after, just because look at this wave, man. This is like a few kills worth of gold, honestly. So I guess that's the one kind of redeeming factor if this situation kind of happens to you, right? If you lose your inhibitors and minions just start pouring in, that's so much like free gold, quote unquote, free. It's not really free, but because it creates a lot of pressure for the enemy team, but we're gonna be able to get all of that gold. Now here, of course, our whole team is back alive. Next logical step is, of course, to do Baron. Enemy team, of course, knows that they're trying to defend the Baron, but of course we do have Elder for quite some time, for like another minute or so, so they're gonna have a tough task doing that. Now Set is doing what he usually does by split pushing the mid lane. I mean, I don't know if it's called split pushing if he's pushing mid lane, but he's pushing in the mid lane while we're trying to do the Baron. So now I realize my jungler is not here, so I can't just do the Baron. So the enemy team is doing a very effective job of wasting our time. Like, I can't do the Baron because my jungler is not here. I can't do my jungler is not here because he's trying to stop the Kha'Zix from getting anything. And my Elder is slowly getting wasted because I'm not using it to fight. Now Morgana recalls to stop Set as well, because Set is a menace. Now Teemo is also going back to stop Set. Now the enemy team realizes that, wait a minute, the whole enemy team is not even here. Let me do the Baron. So now I realize that I'm gonna have to fight. I kill Lucian, I kill Olaf, which is two of the critical people already, and then my team finally is able to get rid of the Set, and now we're able to finally do Baron. Seraphine, she's trying to walk back in here for some reason. We're just gonna get rid of her with the Elder, and we get the Baron. But now just look at the situation again. We're gonna have to go and clear that top wave, right? Because the top wave is pushing in, and honestly at this point I don't actually even need gold anymore. I'm literally full build, but I'm gonna have to help my team clear these waves, because I'm not gonna just leave them to my team to clear, because if they don't clear it, then we're actually going to be at risk of losing the game. Right? We don't want to be losing the game, not after all of this hard work and effort. And now, if you guys notice, from behind, we're actually now ahead of the enemy team by 5k gold. Now after getting all those bounties and those towers and all those minions and things like that, we now suddenly are like super far ahead of the enemy team. So now, the tide has begun to turn. And as a result, now, unfortunately I get a little bit caught out here. I'm kiting away, trying to get rid of the Olaf. We do. We condemn the Set into the wall. However, we get caught by the charm into the punch of the Set, dealing true damage and basically one-shotting us with that punch together with the Lucian damage. So unfortunately, we do end up going down, which is very not ideal. 3 of us end up dying. Only Kha'Zix and Morgana are left, and they're just trying to push in the remaining lanes. But we have one inhibitor that respawn, but honestly we're not going to be able to get their inhibs, so we do get the tier 2 towers, I believe, but we don't get the inhibs, which is a shame, because the only way to counter the pressure from the inhibs is to actually push the inhibs as well, to push the enemy inhibs and get the enemy inhibs as well. But you can see that with that effort, Morgana ends up dying to the enemy team whilst trying to push up too far, which is of course a little bit counterproductive, because now we of course are down a member. In fact, we're down 4 members with only Kha'Zix left alive. Here I'm back alive, I'm full build. I decided to change my boots to physical resistance boots, armor boots, because here there's, honestly I think the main issue is of course not the magic damage but the physical damage, because Seraphine is really not doing all that much damage. She's a lot more utility than damage. Set's here, overextended. We're just going to condemn him to the wall, finish him off. And Elder coming up in half a minute's time. We need Kha'Zix to reset and get over there as quickly as he can. Because honestly with Lucian and Olaf, they might be able to burst the Elder down very, very quickly. So we cannot be out of position when it spawns. We need to be there when it spawns. And we got to make our way there now, because it's only 10 seconds away from spawning. We don't however want to face check, because they could just be setting a trap for us and we could just end up dying and losing the game. Now as the Elder is spawning, you can see that Teemo is split pushing the top lane, so with a wave. So now I'm just checking, like I know a Set is dead, so I'm just checking where are the other 4 people, right? We saw Olaf, we saw Seraphine, we see all 4 of them here. So at this point you gotta realize that Teemo is just ending the game. All we gotta do is keep them in the fight, make sure they cannot recall, which is what we're doing here. We're just committing to the fight. They steal the Elder, but they trade Elder for base. They lost the game because Teemo are just split pushing and ending the game this entire time. So there we have it. There is the victory. So I'm gonna leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.